In accepting the law of reward and punishment, your third eye is open, which I will explain on in this scroll. The disciple will also understand well the laws of nature and how to use them in his life, both constructively and destructively. For example, the law of gravitation. Every body attracts every other body with a force that is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between their centers. What goes up, must come down. Humans are surrounded by a force field of negative and positive charges. It is called his auric egg, holot. Human's holot contains his spirit, soul, and physical form. The holot may be looked upon as the atmosphere of the body, because it reflects the real vital body, mental mood, health and character. The holot has different layers or moods or reflection that are reflected in color, which may appear cloud-like or bright and clear according to the mood it is reflecting. The purer the person, the more illuminated his or her holot will be. Everyone is not able to see the holot, only those who are highly spiritual. The reflection of color rarely stays the same, for the holot reflects the most intricate moods of the person, totally dominate or cloud out a majority of the other moods reflected. In this case, we would know if the person in subject is being acted upon by a particular mood of his holot makeup. The basic, primary, colors of the holot are 1. Red, 2. Blue, 3. Yellow. From these three colors, the secondary colors are formed: green, orange, purple, indigo, and violet. Red is a color that projects or encourages desire and evil. It is taken to represent evil. This color depicts anger, sin, and bloodshed. Blue reflects a highly spiritual mood and the virtuous qualities of man, such as devotion, faith, and piety. Various levels of this mood are reflected in different shades and tints of blue. The mood of this color is highly spiritual. Yellow is the color that reflects intellect, or a total state of consciousness. Yellow about the holot or within it shows intellect in the person. The brighter the hue, the purer the stream of mentality showing greater intellect. Whenever the color is dull or dingy, the thoughts and moods of the person is either slow or out of tune with the mental plane. Yellow encourages reason, judgment, analysis, or the use of logical mental activity. Green, dealing with light, is a most divine mood. Green is a combination of the moods that blue and yellow reflect, which is reflected from the heavens of the mental plane. Green, like white, is a healing force, except the green light is much more powerful and a more purified force. It is controlled and directed to humans by Al-Haadi, the Green One, who is the supreme angelic guardian over the earth, physical plane. Black is not a color, but a supreme state of mind. Black is supreme balance. Black is the total absence of moods and colors. It is the absence of all imbalancement. White is a state of purity of mind and soul. White does not project a mood, but a force. White reflects one of the healing forces. There is never a white aura, holot. The white light, or force, is projected from angelic beings, who are placed as guardians over men. The color white invokes these angelic guardians. Gray is a negative color, projecting a totally negative mood. It is a force combination of black and white. Because they are two complete and individual states, neither lacking, they remain in constant battle. Persons with the color gray in their aura are compelled toward depression, pessimism and malice. Brown is another negative color, whether it be a light shade or a deep murky brown. It projects a mood of greed and desire for material gain. This is because brown is a combination of green and red. The red and brown will dominate the green that is already a combination of two colors, blue and yellow. When one sights the holot, it will appear like a kaleidoscope. The highest and lowest forms that have been able to be detected are those of vibrations. Everything vibrates, which manifests itself in different moods and schemes. The expressions of vibration is called a mood. Each mood acts and reacts continually, carrying out life processes. These moods make up what is known as planes. Planes are moods and schemes of vibration existing in very unique and unified forms. There are 7 planes. The lowest and slowest is the material plane, while the fastest and highest that humans are able to comprehend is the bosom of Anu, Elyon El, the Most High. The 7 heavens, planes, are 1. The material plane, 2. The plane of force, 3. The spiritual plane, 4. The mental plane, 5. The plane of divine truth, 6. The plane of divine reality, 7. Bosom of Anu. Planes are distinct and intricate moods of vibrations woven into one another so uniquely that one cannot determine where one begins and the other ends. In other words, they have no spatial distinctions of degree. A single point of space may have many manifestations on all of the 11 planes of being. Every sense that humans have vibrates. The 5 senses are hearing, sight, taste, smell and touch. What many have been taught to be 5 senses are in reality really 3, which are see, hear, and touch. Taste is a sense of touch. Matters touches the taste buds, and smell is a sense of touch. Particles touch nerves that react to smell. Hearing is also touch. Sound waves touch the eardrum and cause it to vibrate. However, it is counted as a separate sense. Then there are the other senses, which are not sufficiently developed in the average human. They are called ESP, or extrasensory perception. The higher senses are intuition, the quick perception of truth by the mind without the intervention of any process of thought; telepathy, mental communication, the transference of thought from one being to another without the use of words or wires; psychometry, object reading, the ability to identify or tell something about an object by picking up thought waves implanted by someone previously associated with the article; clairvoyance, clear sight, to see into the other dimensions; second sight, an awareness of distinct objects and events. The light is the spiritual spinal column that links the chakras that shineth in the darkness. The light was the spirit of Anu, that part of Anu that is in every human. This very special portion of Anu is what the darkness, the body of a human, did not understand, for it was of another world. Their body was physical and the light was spiritual, two strangers. Reconfirmation of the fact that within every human on this earth, you will find a part is not hidden. It is just unrecognizable and thereby uncultured, but it is there. It is the truth in the sense that although it appeared to be of foreign nature, its potent was good and compatible for humans. The soul, spiritual, is the indefinite side, the state where the 99 sub-degrees of Anu exist without the definite article Al. The spiritual state exists within the bosom of Anu and is where the school of patience exists. This is the state that is not visible to the physical at the lighter side. Humans can only experience the spiritual state. In the spiritual state, humans' aura appears. The aura may be looked upon as the atmosphere of the body. The body, physical, is the definite side, the state where the 99 attributes of Anu exists with the definite article Al, to correspond with the 99 elements of the periodical chart, starting with H, hydrogen, the first and the key to any kind of matter. The plane of force and the material plane work together in perfect harmony. If this were not true, then the cycles of nature would not be completed so perfectly and faithfully each year. The plane of force is largely composed of etheric duplicates of objects on the physical plane. Etheric refers to the spiritual part of you. As above, so below. However, beyond this realm of etheric duplicates is a vast reservoir of forces that very few have knowledge of. These forces control the forces that result in what you know to be nature. These higher forces can also be held accountable for the many so-called wonders and supernatural phenomena of the material plane. The plane of forces, also called the energy plane, consists of ordinary forms of energy like heat, light, attraction, electricity, etc., as well as those forms of energy that are finer that gives humans and nature vitality and the ability to grow and reproduce. This vital force that sets life on the physical into motion and is responsible for growth and reproduction is called nafs. Also known as prana, nafs literally means spirit. Nafs, the spark of life. A metaphysical system in which reality is concerned as a unified whole. All things come from and are one with the Creator. The spark of life that comes from him is nafs. Therefore, Anu, the Most High, left the essence of his being in every atom of his creation. With it he harmonized the entire life processes of man and nature because nafs is constant rhythmic pulsation. In nature, we call this harmonization seasons. The plane of force is perfectly woven into all matter on the material plane. On the plane of force, matter is not solid, liquid or gas as you understand it to be on the material plane, but much more refined because it is vibrating at a much higher speed. The basis or mother of matter is nature, and nature is a result of the plane of force. On the plane of force, there is no distance, temperature, seasons, day, night, or time. All of these are results of the plane of force and made manifest in the physical plane. On the plane of force, one is not subject to gravitation, or at least not the same degrees of gravitation. Gravitation, as well as the rest of the forces that control Earth, are on a highly refined basis on the plane of force. By breaking the law of gravitation on the physical plane, one can raise himself in height. To break the law of gravitation, you must raise your energies, which increases the vibration of the seats, chakras, and radiates the aura to revolve at a certain speed. The seat is a facility that Anu, El, the Most High, has bestowed upon human senses, to keep humans in tune with the spiritual world. The spiritual can be visited without death, if one masters the desires of the physical plane. In Quran 46:26, reference is made to the facilities that enable human to keep in tune with the spiritual: ears, hearing, eyes, seeing, and heart, feeling. This is not the physical eye, ear, or heart that are visible to human, but that which aids human in his spiritual senses. Quran 46:26, and surely we, Anunnaki Mukanam, established them, the pale Enocytes of the valley of Ahqaf, the sandy plains in the land more firmly than you, the Enocytes of Muhammad, and we made for them Saman inner hearing and Afadat inner seeing, and inner hearts, but none of their Samuam inner hearing, and none of their Absar inner sight, and none of their Afadat inner hearts proved to be of any benefit to them, since they ignored the signs of the source, Allah, given by the newsbearer of the tribe of Ad, called Hod/Eber. And they were encircled by that which they used to mock at. Right translation in Ashuric Syriac, Arabic, by Dr. Malachi Z. York. The spiritual senses represent a secondary set of senses corresponding to the senses of the physical plane. In other words, the earthly senses of hearing, seeing, feeling, smelling, and tasting have spiritual counterparts by which the body receives impressions. The 7 seats or chakras of the human body are: 1. Root or basic seat, located at the base of the spine. It superimposes the prostrate area in the male and the uterus in the female. 2. Spleen or splenic seat, located over the spleen. It superimposes the navel and extends to embed some of its roots in the spleen. 3. Navel or umbilical seat, located at the navel over the solar plexus. It superimposes the solar plexus area and the great lobe of the liver. 4. Heart or cardiac seat, located over the heart. It superimposes the thymus gland between the shoulder blades and the right auricle or pulse point of the heart. 5. Throat or laryngeal seat, located at the front of the throat. It superimposes the thyroid gland in the throat and extends to embrace the medulla oblongata. 6. Brow or frontal seat, located in the space between the eyebrows. It superimposes the pituitary gland. 7. Crown or coronal seat, located on the top of the head. It superimposes the pineal gland. It radiates outward to cover the entire head. The spiritual body and senses are attached to our physical form by a very thin cobweb-like etheric cord, which is the shelf of the soul, houses it on the spiritual plane. The spiritual body may continue to live for an extended amount of years depending upon the spiritual status of the individual. However, we do not keep the spiritual body after we have elevated from the physical plane. One may ascend the spiritual without death of the physical body, or without breaking the ethereal cord. In this case, the cord is then expanded, like a rubber tube, allowing the spirit to carry the soul through it as a passageway or tunnel. Now the 7 planes are in tune with the 7 senses, which are in tune with the spiritual spinal column, through which Anu's light travels, which is in tune with the sympathetic nervous system, which is in tune with the electromagnetic force field that surrounds the body called aura. To break the law of gravitation, you must raise your energies to radiate your aura. The 7 planes are: 1. Material, governor of carnal desire. 2. Force, the force between voluntary and involuntary actions. 3. Spiritual, emotions are manifested. 4. Mental, spirit and soul are outgrown. 5. Divine truth, guardian angelic beings. 6. Divine reality, spark of life. 7. Union with the all, eternal bliss. Humans are the only one who can open their higher senses, the third eye, the use of his sixth sense, ESP, extrasensory perception. If humans physical and mental are in tune, he will be able to exercise his third eye, overstanding of truth, his spiritual body, and will eventually reach the plane of ultimate will, that of performing good. The first step necessary to restore perfection to the body is to instill complete faith that there does exist a vast reservoir of spiritual and life forces awaiting only humans' mental acceptance of them. The first act, the act of having faith, is within itself a gigantic step forward, for because of humans' follies and infatuation with earth and low moral concept, the negative mental force field, overpowering the positive mental force field, has so crystallized around humans' physical form that it is indeed difficult to destroy the power it exerts. This mental force field has built a wall, an invisible wall, almost impenetrable wall, which prevents the inflow of the positive spiritual energies. Remember, Nubians are open to the spiritual forces. They are available to he whose mental force field can be prepared to be open to make it possible for him to enter and revitalize the physical form with new life. For Anu, Elion El, breathed into the body of man, the physical, the breath of life in man became a living soul. Body plus spirit equals a living soul. This can be found in Genesis 2:7. Genesis 2:7, and Yahuwah of the Elohim shaped Kadmon, Adam from Nindi's clot of granulated blood from the people of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of divine life, and the Adam, Kadmon, was born, a living spirit. Right translation in Aramaic, Hebrew, by Dr. Malachi Z. York. By raising the light and pulling the energies, only by the disciple who has been through the schools of the trained disciplined consciousness, the energies are subject to control. In any instance, the energies are spiritually invoked, The light in each seed increases in strength and power, illuminating, radiating, and expanding in increased force. Everything is still and quiet. The eyes are made single. You make a buzzing sound as if a hum. You make the buzzing sound come from the outside of the body to the inside of the body until you hear and feel the whole body vibrate on it. Concentration is on the green light, the source of the energy. To make one's eye single, 1, is to temporarily suspend the sight from the 2 physical eyes and look inward. The eye is the third eye. The eye of extrasensory perception, ESP. There are 2 glands that are important to opening the third eye. 1, the pituitary gland, which is negative and feminine. It is associated with the spiritual and psychic center, the brow seat. And 2, the pineal gland, which is positive and masculine. It is associated with the crown seat. The word pineal is from the word pinea, which refers to the pine cone, because it has a pine cone shape, and it is the size of a pea. It is said that the pineal gland resembles the embryonic optic nerve. Extending out from the pineal gland is a tiny hair-like projection vibrating at tremendous speed. When the projection vibrates at a higher speed, it vibrates at a frequency that is common to one of the planes. The plane whose frequency the vibration is common with is the plane the person becomes in tune with. Before puberty, the pineal gland has spiritual functions, being the center from which radiates the mental and spiritual powers of the soul. During the first 7 years, children live by impulse, intuition, and instinct. At this time, the third eye is predominantly opened and the oversoul, etheric body, sends its messages through quite easily. The pineal gland at the age of 7 years tends to partially degenerate, not performing what it did for the first 7 years of growth. A child is said to be shaped at the age of 7. His personality is already formed. He becomes physical. His third eye usually becomes closed because of parental indoctrination. The pineal gland physically decreases until the age of puberty, usually at age 13, when the pituitary gland assumes the function of the pineal gland. Functions of the third eye are: 1. All messages received by the physical senses, 7 of them, must be sent to the oversoul, etheric body. This is done through the third eye. 2. All messages received by the spiritual senses can only be sent to the physical consciousness by the third eye. 3. The third eye sends messages of knowledge from one level of the mind to another. The 3 levels are: A. Normal level, B. Subconscious level, C. Superconscious level. Your mind has a numerous amount of memory vaults used for storage of the many experiences you have encountered. Although your normal level of consciousness does not possess access to this knowledge, at various times, it receives intuition or instinct from the oversoul, etheric body, which does have access to this knowledge. This is the reason you may have stated, "I have been here before," or "I remember this incident," or "I have done this before." The mind levels interlock with each other. One form of message sending is intuition. If the third eye is not sufficiently open, or it is disturbed by emotional stresses, messages between mind levels may be hindered, delayed, or sometimes completely interrupted. The third eye serves as an area for perceiving planes of life other than the physical plane. Remember, there are 7 planes. When a person speaks to you, your auditory or hearing system registers the sound of voice, which you relate to as words, and place a meaning to it. However, the meaning that a speaker intends to attach by a certain word may not be all the same as the thought you attach to the word. The third eye, through inner sensitivity, receives the sound of the speaker's voice, but also the thought impulses or impressions projecting mentally and emotionally. Thus, you know the exact meaning being communication to you. With the eyes you see the physical objects, and that is all. With the third eye properly polarized and receptive to the aura or an object, it becomes possible to receive much additional information. You may be able to perceive something or the persons who have been involved with it, or you may sense something of its past history, or the history of persons who have been associated with it.